Booyah baby. We are in the finals of DTT Season 6, and you know, we're always listening to the Mirror B Retro Groove. Okay, that's our highlight music, right? But today it's different. We are doing the Mirror B theme from XD, but we're doing a lo-fi version of it. I was thinking about doing the real version, but I made a lo-fi version, so we're gonna do the lo-fi version. We are FMP, the Flutter Main Pirates, 5-0 during the regular season. They get the buy into playoffs, so they're sitting pretty. Some of their players might be slacking off. They might be going to the bars and stuff. They might not be ready for this week. Okay, so they may be coming in. It might be a difficult start, or they may have been working so hard during the offseason that they're on the freaking grind, and they're like, I've never been so hungry for a victory. Okay, are they overly confident? Or are they? I don't know what to think. Okay, but we got team liquidation. So on all of these replays, we're gonna watch every game. Okay, I know I'm calling it highlights, but this week we're watching every replay. It's the finals, baby. There's 5 of them. We're gonna have FMP over there and team liquidation up top. Okay, and so first game. I'm gonna do them in order as well. Okay, so first game is Ubers. We have Johnny. Yeah, this Ubers matchup, this is like the two like Ubers champions of the season. So Divinity right now, counting his playoff victory, is 5-1, and Johnny is 4-0 on the season. He was sick week 1. So this is a crazy Ubers matchup. We're going to be watching all these on fast speed with the sound off. Let's go ahead and check this out. So we see, I love the FMP team that Johnny has here. So it is it's like sand. It's like sand Ubers. So he has the Hippowdon plus the Dracozolt, and then the Arceus Rock, which gets the Spadef boost. And clearly we saw turn 1 there. Johnny's idea here is to get an Iron Defense off on the Arceus, and then also have the Sand Spadef boost, which makes it very difficult for Div to deal with anything. And then Div, on the other hand, over here with his very it's like a very bulky kind of offense. I wouldn't call it necessarily a balance because it's got a decent amount of offensive pressure here. So he's got his Ogerpon, which is very dangerous to this team because it's the Terra Ogerpon gets the plus speed, and so that makes it very hard for Johnny the Meginiums to deal with it, especially when you have an Arceus Rock. But when you have this +4 Arceus Rock, it's got all this speed boost, like it's difficult to deal with. And wow, Ironhead only doing 47 to a Magearna. That's pretty crazy. Wonder what this Magearna set is. I don't have any of the calcs in front of me, but the Magearna is thankfully chipping the team. And if I'm over here on Divinity's side, I would suspect my thought is to try to chip down everything, especially the things that might give Ogerpon a little more trouble. So the Vigavolt it might be a little bit more difficult for the Ogerpon to kill, and the dragons resist Ogerpon stab, right? But with the Terra Grass type, that's going to be doing a lot of damage. Now we see Ho-Oh coming out on the Arceus, which is kind of funny. The Arceus, I think, got toxic. Yeah, so the Arceus, without that toxic on Arceus, this thing would be so hard to kill because it's got the recover, it's got the Iron Defense, it's got the Sand Spit boost. So getting that toxic off on it was huge. Sorry, what got the toxic off on it? What wasn't? Oh, so the Ho-Oh got the toxic off. So that makes a lot of sense. You have an Arceus Rock. Arceus Rock is like a perfect switch into Ho-Oh, right? Like you can come in every time you threaten it out. So I must have missed when it happened, but the thought is that Johnny's going to be switching Arceus Rock into the Ho-Oh. The Ho-Oh gets the toxic off on the Arceus Rock, and now it can at least deal with it, right? And then Ho-Oh is so frustrating this generation with the heavy duty boots and the regenerator. It comes in on rocks and it doesn't take the 50, and then it gets the 33% back. So we see finally Johnny gets the Dracozolt out here, and it's Terra Electric. So even if you're resisting the electric attacks, good luck, buddy. Good luck. So your only chance is to be immune, but obviously we see the Ting Lu, the only thing that's immune to electric attacks, is now gone. So now Johnny's in a very strong position. Bolt Beak, you can't really kill anything with it, or you can't really switch anything into it because everything's going to die to a Bolt Beak. This Iron Boulder, I don't know if it's Scarf or what's going on here, but Johnny keeps switching mons out of the Dracozold. It looks like he's assuming that Divinity's going to switch, but he's really running down these sand turns, and now without sand, it's going to be a really difficult position. So we see Dracozold die there, and now we have Ogerpon, which is very strong, and there's no way to set up the sand, and there's no way to sweep with the Dracozold anymore. So you're kind of in a difficult spot. And then Destiny Bond Giratina, really interesting, and then loses to that. But at this point, I think the Ogerpon's got it, the grass type Ogerpon. So Johnny had an incredible season, 4-0, and it looks like, yep, 4-1 on the season. Okay, so I've watched these games, but like some of these are semi-new to me because I watched them real quick like last week, and then I was like, I want to do like mostly live. So I know what the final outcome is, but Div from Team Liquidation goes up 1-0 over FMP. So FMP, you're a little bit sleeping, right? You're a little bit tired. You have this week. You're like, we went undefeated. We don't need to try that hard, but let's see it, baby. You might need to try hard. And a big turn of events, right? Little Cup players were the last ones to play every game all season. In finals, Little Cup players playing game 2, baby. Game 2. So we have Reg, who I think is 4-1 on the season, and Cran, who is having a rougher season. So I think Reg is definitely favored in this matchup. If I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, right, the Cran's team is definitely ordered towards getting, trapping something with Diglett, probably this Tinkatink, and then trying to sweep with the Timber and the Abra, right? But the Natu is very, very dangerous to the opposing team. Natu basically smashes everything. The only thing that's really resisting it is that Abra, but Abra is not known for its bulk, so you're really gonna have to like try to trade something for this Natu here. And Carvana also very dangerous. Obviously you have the Timber to try to stop the Carvana sweep, which is very helpful, but overall I think the point of this game is obviously, yeah, so we see Cran, Nexus Cloud, obviously trying to trap that Tinkatink early, but it's just a rough spot to be in, playing that not to. We do see both of these teams have the little tumbleweed guy. I forget what his name is. Bramblin, of course. So we see Bramblin come down to 1 HP and eat his berry juice, which is really funny. So that, I guess, I don't know if that was a roll or not, but like with Little Cup, the rolls can be so crazy. Smart playing from here from so obviously the Bramblin dies, but smart playing, bringing Drain Punch, Trubbish, and probably being okay sacking that Bramblin because he really wants to catch that Tinkatink. Now that Tinkatink is dead, Abra can be very, very dangerous to this team. Obviously this is Gen 9 Little Cup as well, so we have Roost on Piplup, which you would have never seen in past generations. It got that in Legends Arceus, and we see Piplup is kind of his big answer to Natu because Natu just kind of smashes the rest of the team. So big power miss there, even though it's resisted in this generation. Power Whip, or like at Little Cup, like a Power Whip is going to still do like a third of your HP. Yeah, so we see 38 there, so it was a pretty big miss. Getting the Strength Sap off is useful, but basically just gets the momentum, and looks like it's either not a Scarf Scraggy, or maybe he was obviously thinking, if it's Focus Sash Abra. So like if he can break this Focus Sash on Abra and he's got either like a Dragon Dance or a Scarf Scraggy, then that Abra would be very, very dangerous to finish off this group. But you're in a tough spot here if you're Cran, because Scraggy so hard to deal with, and Carvana also very hard to deal with. We see the Larvesta actually outspeeding the Abra there, it looks like, so it must have been a Scarf Larvesta, which was a really good bring. He didn't really get the rocks up, and so it did a lot of damage. We're down to the final Timber versus Scraggy, and obviously you can't Mach Punch, because even a Super Mach Punch crit, probably when you're at +0, the Mach Punch crit, I guess head calc says, does 80%. So he's just got to go for the drain punch and hope that Scraggy has like high jump kick and misses or something. But he doesn't. He has close combat. So that's a clean win for I never know if it's Reg or Reg. I always say Reg. If it's Reg, I'm very sorry. But congratulations, great season. I think it's 5-1, and that also brings the series to 1 for FMP and 1 for team liquidation. So we're going to a game 3 where we're even. And ooh, my favorite tier of the season. I love the black-white games. We have Tago and King Rock, and this is similar to the Johnny Divinity Ubers game. Like Tago and King Rock, and then third player A Healy. Those 3 have kind of been dominating the black-white sphere. So this is a really good matchup. So Tago obviously has the drag team. I think the only double dragon team that we saw in black and white. It's actually performed very well. I'm kind of surprised at the fact that I think it was the only double dragon team. I would have expected more like double dragons. And then King Rock over here with a very anti-meta type team. So like Starmie, obviously very, very dangerous to the opposing team. The Starmie can ice beam the dragons. It can thunderbolt the Blastoise. It can just Scalds are dangerous to Scald or HP Fire or whatever. So like Starmie can bring coverage for the whole team. And then obviously Salamence as well. If you get a single Dragon Dance up with Salamence, kind of the only thing that will really check it on the opposing team is maybe like a Scarf Garchomp or a bulky Blastoise. But if you can chip the Blastoise and then maybe get a DD off with your Salamence, it can be difficult to deal with. Obviously Bullet Punch from Scizor can also deal with it a little bit too, but we've also been seeing some cool techs from some of these players throughout the season, so I'm hoping to see some good stuff here. So we do see a sturdy Magneton lead and a Terrakion that had just enough health to live 2 Thunderbolts, but obviously when you... Ooh, I gotta pause it real quick. A Terrakion that obviously had enough to live 2 Thunderbolts, but not if he gets the minus defense. And then the explosion from the Magneton. Obviously explosion nerfed this gen so it doesn't kill. Hashtag bring back Gen 4 explosion, bring back Gen 3 explosion. That we loved old explosion, and I don't know why they got rid of it. It was such a good mechanic. But still, healthy chunk to that Jolteon, and this Jolteon can be dangerous to this team too. Another hot tech, a HP Fire Jolteon, killing that Scizor. Obviously, Tago bringing out the Scizor, probably going for a U-turn, assuming a switch into Skarm, maybe something else to some hot tech for the Skarmory. But really, really heads up play by Jolteon to bring a HP Fire rather than HP Ice. Obviously, you're thinking HP Ice Jolteon when you're playing a Garchomp and a Hydreigon. But maybe it's Signal Beam Jolteon or something. Yes, we see Signal Beam coming out on the Hydreigon. Big play, and then Tailwind on the Hydreigon as well. And we see a critical hit Dragon Pulse. I think that Rapidash for sure lives a Dragon Pulse if it doesn't crit. And then, wow. It is really just a slugfest out here. So lots of cool tech so far. HP Fire Jolteon, the Tailwind on the Hydreigon, and a Blastoise going for a burn on the Skarmory. It looks like the Skarmory is okay getting the burn, probably because it doesn't have a great switch in. But to me, I'm thinking, why aren't you switching to a Starmie, and can't the Starmie force this Blastoise out? Do you not have a something from it? And a big miss from Draco Meteor on the Blastoise. I don't personally think like it could be Choice Specs Salamence, and maybe Choice Specs Draco Meteor, because I think Draco Meteor is like 140 power this gen. Maybe that kills this Blastoise. I think Blastoise lives, but like that's a massive amount of chip that you really need to have there. And then it's looking a little bit rough for the Jolteon because it doesn't have the HP Fire to hit the Garchomp, and then that also means that it can't like pop a Yachi Berry for the Starmie. But Starmie is still very powerful, can still be very dangerous to the rest of this team. So what even just happened there, right? Did he switch twice? Let me go back at the turn. Okay, so he goes into Garchomp and then sees the Starmie come out. He's like, I gotta get out of here. It's probably gonna be an Ice Beam. Is this Starmie locked into Scald? Like, is that Specs damage? Because it didn't feel like that Scald was doing very much damage. And now we see where this like this Blastoise would be dead in a half if that Draco Meteor hit. So really big miss. You got to be a little bit upset if you're King Rock here. But the Blastoise, there was another week when the Blastoise was just going off. Like, why are Blastoises getting so many kills? Apparently Gen 5 Blastoise is one of the like, and Custap Berry too. So Blastoise finishes off this damn team. Apparently Blastoise is like the number one, like public enemy number one, big time offensive threat in Gen 5. I love to see the Blastoise perform throughout the season, because it's a bulky water that really helps check dragons, especially with those ice beams, right? It spins when spikes are very sticky in this generation, and like it also gets scald this gen, which is very dangerous with the burns, and with the Custap Berry, which is great tech right there. Just powerful ending there. I don't think the Jolteon would have been able to clean up. I think Targo was probably in a winning position even without the Custap Berry, but you just love to see it. You love to see that power, and you love to see the techs. So with that win, Team Liquidation goes up 2-1 versus FMP. So now Cyberass with his back against the wall. FMP, if they lose, then they lose the finals. So we got to get a Cyberass win, and then they have to win in Scarlet and Violet too. We have the Sun Moon game here that I can't remember the exact outcome of this before, but obviously if you're looking at this matchup, you got to think Zeraora is looking very scary, and then likewise Lopunny is looking very scary to the opposing team. The main things that are checking it, like Zeraora has a little bit of trouble getting past the Nidoking. Serp obviously resists the electric move, so it can like take a hit and then fight back and whatnot. And then obviously on the other team, Mudstale and Skarm can help check the Lopunny, but obviously if you chip down these threats, you can. That's kind of where I see the openings going here. Obviously Mega Gallade as well. Big threat Mega Gallade. Nothing resists Mega Gallade dual stab except the Spiritomb, right? So the Spiritomb is coming in clutch for Cyberass just to like really solidify that Mega Gallade matchup, because otherwise that would be a difficult position to be in. So Cyberass back against the wall. Daddy is Mac DeMurkrow. We actually see that's really interesting. The Spiritomb comes out right at the beginning and is apparently not afraid to lose health, even though that he needs to check this Gallade, and gets rid of his Sticky Barb. Turn 1 gives it to the Roselia, so I guess it takes away the Roselia Eviolite. So, I actually remember earlier in the season, this Roselia went off into Cyberass's team. So maybe he's like extra afraid of the Roselia and is like, let me trigger the Sticky Barb, because I mean, Roselia into Tapu Fini, difficult. Roselia into Serperior, difficult. And then Roselia also like stun spored the Roselia also stun spored the Celesteela in the original game, so I couldn't get like a sweep off. So I guess he's just like, let me get rid of this Roselia, right? And without the Eviolite, it's going to be taking a lot more damage, and it's also losing health every turn with Sticky Barb, so it really can't sit out here and check the Serp. So I guess the thought process is right here, it only does 11%, but then you take another 13% from that, and now with the hidden power, you're able to kill it because it doesn't have the Eviolite anymore. So I guess in Cyberass's mind, the way that he's going to win this matchup is, hey, I want to get this Serperior going, and really strong play, wasting the Zeraora's Z move, and so I guess Daddy is thinking, I'm either going to kill this Serp or he might go into Nidoking. Cyberass makes a heads up play and sacks the Tapu Fini. So now the Zeraora can't do like a breakneck blitz on the Nidoking anymore. So now the Zera's in a kind of tough spot where it's like it can't strongly threaten this Nidoking. And then obviously he has the Spiritomb, but the Spiritomb it doesn't check the Gallade quite as well when it's only at 75. It's got a spike down. It doesn't have leftovers, and it's got to switch into the Gallade somehow. So looks like, I assume, a knockoff coming out here. Ooh, a Swords Dance, a little bit greedy maybe, but Thunder Punch just not enough. So takes two Shadow Sneaks, which is really rough, because now the Gallade doesn't can't like set up into something else anymore. It's got to just go straight for attacks. I bet Daddy would have really hoped that that Thunder Punch would have killed, so he would have been at 67 rather than 33. That's pretty big. And it's looking like a more defensive Celesteela this time. I believe the first time it might have been an Autotomize one, but the Leech Seed Celesteela is in a pretty good spot if it can get a Leech off against a Zero Aura. And with the plus Spadef, I guess the plus Spadef makes it a little bit more difficult to. We don't know for certain what Zero Aura this is. It could be Plasma Fist or it could be Thunderbolt. But with that plus Spadef, maybe it's Thunderbolt Zero with Hyper Beam, Breakneck Blitz, and then he doesn't necessarily want to risk like a roll if Thunderbolt doesn't kill from that point of view, or maybe he just doesn't want to play the mind games with Nidoking, so he decides to bring out the Gallade, which can just go straight for a close combat and gets a critical hit on the Nidoking. So the Nidoking can now no longer check the Zero Aura. So now you're thinking the Zero's got to be in a fairly good position. Mudstail actually living that Leaf Storm. Superior is so weak before it gets the +2 special attack boost. But this Superior is now in a really strong position, right? So you have 88% and misses the Giga Impact. You've got to be upset if you're a fan of Team Liquidation right there, right? Because like that Giga Impact, like I feel like there's no way that Giga Impact doesn't kill. So if the Giga Impact kills, then you get to come out with Lop. If it's so Lop 4 or 5, yeah. So if you're Lop, you get to come out and revenge kill the Zero Aura, or he might have like. He hasn't shown it, but maybe he has Earthquake on the Celesteela to kill that. And then let's see the game position from that point, right? Think about what goes on here. So we missed there. So we would have had probably a dead Zero Aura is my guess. Although maybe Lop only does like 79 to 0. And like if Lop can't kill the Zero Aura from that point and doesn't have like maybe quick attack to kill it after, then Zero Aura would probably be able to clean the rest of the game. Close combat's the Lop, and then Plasma Fist's the Celesteela. So, but let's just say that Lop can kill the Zero Aura. It has like return into quick attack or something. Then we have a Gallade plus a Skarm. The Celesteela can Leech Seed the Skarm and probably wins that 1v1. The Lop outspeeds the Gallade, but you want to get the Gallade in against. It becomes kind of an unclear ending, but like either way, you know, like it goes from having a chance to no longer having a chance, because at this point, now you're kind of just screwed, right? I'm not saying who would have won or lost if the Giga Impact hit, but you got to be a little upset by that, right? If you're a Team Liquidation fan. But the thing I'm not upset about is that it brings us to a Game 5, baby. We're 2-2, right? There's no other way to do finals other than a Game 5. Yeah, I like it just because it's more Pokemon. We get to see every tier played, and that's what I want to see. So now we have Nido for Team Liquidation. His back's against the wall. We got Scamp for Team FMP, his back's against the wall too, because we're at 2-2. So they're both fighting for their damn lives. One of these teams is taken first, one of these teams is taken second. Obviously what we see here is the Slowking into Kyurem. That is going to be the main idea from Scamp, I assume. The Great Tusk can also be very, very dangerous if it can get the Rapid Spin off. Like if it can Rapid Spin, like ground plus fighting is really dangerous into basically any team. Latios does resist that combo, but it does also have Ice Spinner, so that complicates that interaction a little more. And then this is also Urshifu Water, so Aqua Jet might be able to kill it if it takes too much chip along the way. And then what we've seen in the past is Nido really likes the Choppleberry to Dunsparce to try to deal with and try to lure the Great Tusks. But I'm thinking Scamp-wise, first off, both of these players, very, very strong players. I think Nido went undefeated last season. Scamp is almost undefeated this season. I think probably like 4-1 so far. Yeah, I definitely think the big strategy on this side is trying to get the Kyurem sweep. And then from the other side, there's a couple of the different things you can do. I think the Urshifu, massively dangerous. Obviously, the Whimsicott can do some revenge killing of it, but like you don't really want to switch the Whimsicott in. Like if you get poison jabbed or something, or even a surging strike can do a ton to a Whimsicott because it's not necessarily too bulky, but it's got a good defensive typing for the Urshifu matchup. So Urshifu's looking very dangerous, or maybe if you can get a Dragon Dance off with a Latios, that can be dangerous. Maybe just chip down and then go for a Scarf something sweep on Naito's side. So curious to see how this one ends up. I actually already know how it ends up, but I forget how the game actually plays out, right? So we're trading statuses, we're trading rocks. We see a Boom Burst coming out on that Slow King, and that only does 33, but we see the what's it called, activate. The Future Sight hits, and I mean, I'd just like to say the Boom Burst, the first Boom Burst did like 33%. That's like a 140 base power move. What the heck? Maybe it's just not very much special attack to Dunsparce, or maybe it's like fully Spadef Slow King, but it's not even Assault Vest because he has the slack off, right? So that's just crazy. A lot of damage, and then obviously with the Future Sight, he's able to take him down, and then just a little bit, not enough. So Naito obviously feels safe bringing in the Urshifu because he sees that it's a Future Sight Slow King, and he sees all the moves. He assumes Chili Reception last, so he assumes that the Slow King can't immediately threaten the Urshifu, and just barely misses out on the kill on Slow King Galar. If he got that kill, that would have been very huge. And then obviously Whimsicott coming in here to try to get the revenge kill. Special attack drop on the Rotom matters a little bit on the Volt Switch damage, but not a ton. We see the plus speed and really cool tech here coming out from the Iron Treads. So you've got to be pretty upset as a Team Liquidation fan there. That's two big, like 90, 95, I think 90 accuracy moves missing. Really good tech. The Steel Beam plus speed Iron Treads, knowing that the Great Tusk is going to come out. And then you're like, hey, I'm just going to trade a Quark Drive, Steel Beam, Iron Treads for that Great Tusk because it's dangerous to my team. So that would have been a big trade. And even if you Rapid Spin, you're getting rid of the rocks if you're Scamp. But since he has the plus speed Quark Drive on that side, he would have been able to get that kill and would have just like completely neutralized the Great Tusk. But instead misses the Steel Beam, and it still takes 50. And I mean, he would have died from the second Rapid Spin anyway. But you gotta hate that. I guess this is a Scarf Rotom though, because the Scarf Rotom is able to come out here and kill that, but it puts him in a really bad position where a Kyurem can get out here and set up a Dragon Dance for free and get behind a substitute. So the biggest thing about that interaction, like yes, he was still able to kill the Great Tusk with a Scarf Rotom, but Scarf Rotom is like, you do not want to get stuck with a Rotom out there, because Rotom just gives absolutely free setup to this Kyurem. And he was going for close combats to break the subs, or like I guess if he got attacked or whatnot. Yeah, so from Naito's point of view, I guess he's going for a close combat, because if Scamp goes for Scale Shot and it doesn't kill the Urshifu, then you can kill the Kyurem back. But if you go for Surging Strikes, assuming you don't want to get the defense drop, then Surging Strikes is probably only going to do like 30 to Kyurem, and then if Kyurem sets up another Dragon Dance on your Surging Strikes or something, then you're kind of screwed. So now the Urshifu gets down to like -2 defense, so then a Scale Shot just easily kills it. So now if you're Scamp, you got +1 attack and +2 speed, and from that position on, it's like, what can you really do? So you hate to see it. If you're a Team Liquidation fan, two big misses, the Giga Impact miss and the steel beam miss on that great tusk, which just allowed the Curum to come out and get free setup. So that's a really difficult position to be in. But I mean, if you're FMP, you're like, hey, we'll take. It's a game. It's a game. It's a game of misses. You know, sometimes there's a little bit of hacks, and like obviously, Scamp took great advantage of that hacks. Cyber took advantage of that hacks, and what you see, FMP, perfect season, clean sweep. There was no player that had 5-0 wins because Johnny went 4-0. He was sick, and obviously Johnny on the FMP as well. But FMP themselves, 5-0 season, buy into finals, 3-2 in finals, and they win finals, baby. Congratulations to King Rock and Cyber, the coaches of FMP, and also all their players. That really, you know, Reg had a great season, and Scamp had a great season. A couple other, Johnny had a great season. They even had I think C Diggs. He played 2 games and won both of them. So like, just great season overall to FMP. Also great season to Team Liquidation. They were my #1 pick from the start. So they came in second. So that was pretty close. And I think FMP I had in second, or I think I might have had them in 3rd place. And then they absolutely crushed the season. So congratulations to both of you guys. It was a great season. And I will be back with awards and recaps in just like 2 days. I've already taken the video and it's already scheduled to upload. So this one I'm taking after. I'm uploading it today, and then the recaps will be out on Monday. So I will see you guys then.